Who's actually going to get the most out of a 12-megapixel, 16-camera POE security system? Who should walk away and look for something simpler? And does the price make sense for a typical homeowner who just wants peace of mind without spending a small fortune on a professional-grade setup? Those are the three questions that keep most of us up at night when we're scrolling through endless listings. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When I first started digging into the REOLINK 16CH 12MP system, the thing that kept me skeptical was the promise of full-color night vision. It sounds like sci-fi, but in practice it means you can actually see a car's license plate or a child's face in total darkness without the usual green wash. I read a handful of forum threads where people complained that night vision cameras either give you a blurry gray blob or a washed-out image that's useless for identification. The claim here is that the built-in spotlight, paired with a 12-megapixel sensor, delivers true color at night. That's a concrete benefit if you're trying to tell whether a stray cat or a burglar triggered the alert. The first thing I did was picture a real-world scenario. A two-story house with a side yard that's poorly lit, a driveway that's used by both family members and occasional deliveries, and a front porch that serves as the main entry point. In that setup, the biggest pain point for most people is the gap between "I see motion" and "I can actually tell what's moving." The REOLINK system tackles that with 3 layers of intelligence: human detection, vehicle detection, and pet detection. It's not just a motion trigger that sends you a generic "something moved" push notification. It tries to tell you what moved. In my mind, that reduces false alarms dramatically, especially if you have a dog that likes to sprint around at night. Now, let's talk about the installation reality. 16 POE ports sound intimidating, but the hardware version N6MB01 includes an integrated 4TB HDD, so you don't have to buy a separate drive. All you need is a POE-enabled switch or a POE injector for each camera. If you're a DI-oriented homeowner, that's a fairly straightforward wiring job. Run Ethernet from the NVR to each bullet camera, plug in the power, and you're good to go. The menu on the NVR is clean enough that you can set up the cameras in under an hour, even if you've never touched a network video recorder before. The downside is that the system isn't truly plug-and-play for absolute beginners. You'll still need to assign static IPs or let the NVR handle DHCP, and that can be a little confusing if you've never set up a local network before. Autofocus is another area where the 12-megapixel sensor shines. Many budget 1080p cameras lock focus at a fixed distance and then struggle when something moves closer or farther away. In the field tests I read about, the REOLINK bullets automatically adjust focus when a delivery truck rolls up the driveway, keeping the license plate sharp enough to be read. That's a practical strength for anyone who relies on video evidence for insurance claims or police reports. However, the autofocus algorithm isn't perfect. In very low-light scenarios without the spotlight, the camera can hunt for focus a couple of times before it settles, which adds a tiny delay to the recording. If you need instant clarity at pitch black, you might still prefer a dedicated IR camera that's designed solely for that condition. Low-light behavior is where the full-color night vision claim gets tested. The built-in spotlight is essentially a floodlight that turns on only when motion is detected, and it's bright enough to illuminate a 10-meter radius. In practice, that means if a person walks past your side gate at 2 a.m., you'll get a color image of their clothing, shoes, and even a face if they're close enough. Reviewers who have actually used the system say the color rendering is surprisingly natural, not the pinkish hue you sometimes see with LED floodlights. On the flip side, the spotlight can be a bit conspicuous. Neighbors have mentioned that the sudden burst of white light can be startling, which might be a privacy concern if you live in a tight community. One feature that often gets overlooked is two-way talk. The built-in speaker and microphone let you speak through the camera from your phone, which is handy if you need to warn a delivery driver to leave a package at the back door, or if you want to tell a teenage visitor to come back later. It works reliably as long as you have a stable Wi-Fi connection on your phone. The audio can get a little tinny if the network is congested. For most homeowners, that's a nice convenience. But if you're looking for a full-blown intercom system, you'll still need a dedicated solution. Now let's talk money. The price point sits in the mid to high range for DIY home security kits. You're paying for the 12-megapixel resolution, the 4 terabytes HDD, and the smart detection algorithms bundled together. If you